So how you doing? So today we're gonna run a saw. We're gonna cross our fingers and hope that it performs. But I've been I've been kind of afraid to do this. I've been sitting on this for like 4 or 5 days now. It's been running, It runs now, but I haven't made the cuts because I'm kind of afraid that I might have lost some power. It's common in situations when, you kind of cook your saw and, you got to fix it, and then you have to make some tweaks to make it run. And in the process, you end up losing performance. So, there's a possibility there. So today we're gonna give it a run and see what happens. And it's raining. I'm getting rained all over right now. It's not a heavy rain, just a light sprinkle, but we're gonna do it anyway. So there are some changes to this build since the last time. There's a bunch of little changes, but there's several of them. So I'm gonna have to go over everything with you and bring you up to date. Alrighty, so here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there's been some changes here and there. The chain, whenever this saw fried, I was doing a video on the chain because this is a chain that I ground up with my round grinder, and I wanted to test how fast this is compared to 23 RS. So that's what this chain is. We'll move into that again here some other day or whatever. But this is a chain that I ground up. It is a 325 chain, Husqvarna brand. So we'll see how this turns out. The air filter, I had ripped up the air filter before, so I replaced it. We got a new one. Fits pretty good. I actually got a better fitment this time with this air filter. So, this filter actually seems to be a better fit than the last one. Carburetor, we had the issue with the carburetor. The butterfly screw came out. I got it replaced, put a new screw in there and hit it with Loctite and everything. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Now the changes in the porting, I had to replace the piston, and there was damage done to the cylinder at the combustion chamber area, real close to the plating. So basically I had to take sandpaper, and if you've heard about people using sandpaper to do combustion chamber modifications, that's basically what I had to do here. And I didn't take a whole lot out. 5 or probably 10 thousandths of material I had to take out of the combustion chamber. But there was still a little bit of damage on the plating right at the edge. So the piston itself, if you can imagine the piston, because I had machined it, I machined a pop up into it and all that stuff. But the outer rim of the piston, I cut like a 45-degree taper into the piston around the rim, and I had to do a decent amount. So there's probably another 20 or 30 thousandths there cut off the edge of just around the edge, and kind of create this little taper around the piston to make sure I had clearance away from the damaged part on the cylinder. That's the thing that I don't know. It could end up helping performance. It could end up hurting performance. I don't know. Today is kind of one of those things. We're going to try to find out, see if it runs any better or any worse. But it is a brand new piston and stuff, so it's not even remotely going to be close to broken. So we're really not going to know that information fully for a little while as it gets closer to broken, and then we can start comparing it to what it used to run like. So that's where we're at. The only running it's had so far is 2 heat cycles. So we're going to be kind of careful with it today. And, this is the beginning. We're going to bring it back to its former glory, hopefully. You know what I mean? So it is a Husqvarna 50 with a partner 5000 top end. And the piston is a little red barn piston, because that's the only piston that's the only one that you can get that, works so well with the partner 5000 top end or whatever. It's the only one properly laid out with the windows and everything. So it was basically try to find a partner 5000 piston, like a new old stock or whatever, or just use the little red barn piston. And I went with the little red barn piston. So that's what we're going with. And I can tell you, this piston is pretty close to the original factory. They're very, very, very close. So I don't expect any issues from this piston, but I have had other ones that were horrible, and you actually had to modify the piston in order to get it to work. So Little Red Barn pistons are one of those things. They're hit or miss. What do you say we give her a run and cross our fingers? Alrighty. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. I took it to an 8-pin sprocket, so we are now on an 8-pin sprocket, and we're going to see if she can handle the 8-pin. It had enough torque before that I'm pretty certain it would have handled an 8-pin without hardly even noticing it. But now that we've got these modifications, I don't know how it's going to work out. You know what I mean? Because I might have lost performance, so now the 8-pin may not work. You never know how it's going to turn out. So let's give her some cuts. This wood is way too big for this bar, but we're going to run it anyway. Okay, so there we are. Let me kind of go over this with you. All right, so yeah, she's back up and running. I will tell you, after I machined that taper on the piston, the tune on this thing really got finicky on idle especially. I'm gonna have to play with it a bit. I'm basically gonna have to set the idle pretty high because it does not like to idle like a normal saw anymore. Just forget it. You got to stay on it pretty good. So I'm going to have to, do some tweaks there and figure out a good idle position for it. But I can tell you it's going to need to idle pretty high. Other than that, yeah, I think we got her back. We'll have to run a little bit more to see where our RPM is sitting. I can tell you it had more torque before, which I got an 8-pin on it now, and I can tell. So I might go ahead and take her back to a 7. It's able to pull the RPM on the 8-pin just as good as it was on the 7-pin to a point. It's just I don't have the ability to push. It's not as forgiving on the 8-pin. So I'm probably going to take it back to the 7 just to make it a little more forgiving. Now, I'll probably gain some torque here as it breaks in. So, we might end up going back and forth. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to take it to the 7 until after the break-in's done. But yeah, she's back up and running. After we give it a little break-in time, we'll throw the tack on it. We'll see how she's cutting in the wood, see if it's changed at all, and go from there. Now, some of this stuff with, not being as forgiving might be the chain itself, because that chain is very smooth and stuff, but it plows through the wood like butter, and it's pretty hungry. If you'd seen the way I'd sharpened it, it's pretty hungry. So it might just be part of the equation, might be the chain just being as hungry as it is. You know what I mean? So we'll see in the future as things go on. But yeah, thought you'd like to know the saw is back up and running. We got her going again. New piston in it. Had to do a couple of changes, but I don't notice much of a difference, except right now I don't seem to have nearly as much torque. But as she breaks in, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes after I put it back to a 7-pin. Those might just be the issues, you know what I mean? So we'll see how she goes. Alrighty, so hey, we'll catch you on the next one, and catch you later.